We'll start with the prayers. Om Bhadram Karnebhi Shruniyama Devaha Bhadram Pashyemakshabhiryajatraha Stirairangaihi Stuštuvagum Sastanovihi Vyashema Devahitam Yadayuho Swasti na Indro Vrittasravaha Swasti na Pusha Vishvavedaha Swasti nastakshorarishthanemihi Swasti no brihaspati dadato Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We continue our study of Mandukya Upanishad with Shankaracharya. Mandukya Upanishad is the crest jewel of all the Upanishads. It contains the essence of the entire Veda. And Shankaracharya is extremely famous for this Upanishad. The main reason is he writes a BASHYAM on his grand guru's BASHYAM on Mandukya Upanishad. That means what you are studying is two BASHYAMs together in one text. We don't find this in any other Upanishad. The details of this BASHYAM are all put together in the form of a book, which I have already circulated. The notes of this presentations have also been circulated to you all. For a quick revision, if you want to revise what is the commentary of Shankaracharya, you can use the first book, which has got only the commentary. It doesn't have my notes on it. But for those who want to understand the meaning of that BASHYAM, you may like to refer to the notes which I have sent and which I'm using for my class. Right now, we are in the third session and we are doing the general introduction of Mandukya Upanishad. We have yet to come to the chapter 1 introduction and we have yet to start mantra 1. I would now go back to where we stopped last week, and that is slide number 37, where we have finished the details of the third chapter. What we have discussed last week is that the first chapter is the main chapter of the Upanishadic mantras, which are 12 in number. This chapter is called as Agama Prakaranam. Shankaracharya writes a commentary on the 29 verses or the Karikas for the first chapter. So Gaudapadacharya has written 29 verses to explain the first chapter. And Shankaracharya writes a commentary on those 29 verses. Second chapter deals with Yukti Pramanam, which means it is a logical chapter. Logically, it reveals how Advaitam is the central teaching of Veda. Advaitam is one word which is described in the seventh mantra, which is the central teaching of the entire Mandukya Upanishad. There is a word called prapancho upashamam. That word is elaborately described in the second chapter. The third chapter establishes the reality of Atma. Again, logic. All the study which we will be doing is with logic. It is śruti logic. It is different than the normal logic which we use in our common parlance. So we have to understand the 12 mantras very clearly. And in order to understand in depth the 12 mantras, we have to do the karikas. Karika means verses. In this Mandukya Upanishad, Shankaracharya, Gaudamacharya calls it karika. The fourth chapter is what now today we are going to see, where Shankaracharya introduces the fourth chapter. And he is saying that to convince our own intellect, we have to study how other philosophers, they attack this thought of Advaita. So different thoughts, different schools of philosophers are brought in the fourth chapter. And they are taken as obstacles in our understanding. See, sometimes we may have our own doubts. Our own doubts are also clarified when we study the fourth chapter. For example, Buddhism. They come out with a philosophy. Sankhya, Yoga, Nyaya, these are the three other schools which were very prominent during Shankaracharya's time. And these schools, the other schools, they are opposed to each other. Therefore, each school defeats the other school. We don't have to defeat all the schools. So we take the main school, and then Shankaracharya says, this is our matam, this is their matam. Ultimately, what is the objective of the fourth chapter? It tells me that the central teaching is Advaitam. Again, in the fourth chapter, the description is Advaitam. What is this description about? It is about my own nature. See, in all the four chapters, we must understand the objective is, who am I? Today, I consider my body and mind as me. 99.99% we all think like this. But by studying Mandukya Upanishad, and if you are able to continue the study till the last chapter, you will find definitely a change in you. A change in the vision about your own self and about the world. I give you guarantee you will have a transformation in your inner thinking. When the inner thinking changes, it gives us peace of mind and it gives us fulfillment in life, which is called as moksha. Generally, we study 12 Upanishads, but Mandukya Upanishad study is a direct study for the goal of the study of Veda. The fourth chapter concentrates on the refutation of non-Vedantic schools. Once my intellect understands logically how the other philosophers are wrong, then I will get conviction on what Shankaracharya's vision about the Veda is. This is a very, very powerful study. What we are taking up is an extremely intense study. During the study, I would like to tell you, there are certain portions which are difficult to absorb in our current mindset, because our mind is getting ready to absorb this vision. When the mind is pure, the acharyas tell us, and you do this study, you will get the vision immediately. But when our mind is slowly going through the process of purification, normally the purification process happens through karma yoga and upasana yoga. But we may not have got that purification when we study right now this Upanishad. There will be some portions where, number one, you may not understand what the vision is. There are some Sanskrit terms right in mantra number 1 itself. I will explain to you when that portion comes. You don't have to bother too much about it. You pick up what you can, but go through the study. Don't worry if you don't understand certain portions, number one, because they are using phrases of Sanskrit, like abhidhanam, abhidheyam. These are technical terms. So in the very first mantra of the Upanishad, Shankaracharya uses this. But then when he teaches the Upanishad, his disciples are very different. So he teaches the Upanishad at a very high level in certain portions. Second point to note is, when the Upanishad, when Shankaracharya tells us certain things and your intellect is not able to accept it, don't worry. Let it go through. You say, okay, today I don't accept it, no problem. But let me complete the study. As you go through the second chapter, and particularly the third chapter, I find among the 4 chapters, the third chapter is absolutely amazing, because lot of your doubts will get clarified in the third chapter. So the lesson is, continue the study. Whether you understand, whether you don't understand, continue the study with the hope that as you study further and further, the concepts of Vedanta become clear. All the Vedantic topics which are discussed in other Upanishads, you will find them also here. So suppose you study this Upanishad and then study Kathopanishad. You'll find Kathopanishad is a cakewalk, because you have dealt with the most difficult portion of Upanishad, which is Mandukya. Kathopanishad, Kenopanishad, Taittiriya Upanishad, all that will become very, very easy to absorb. But you must be able to link the study. You see, as you study, I will give you some tips of how to as a seeker, how I should be a good student. Okay. Now comes this chart. This chart is the central chart of the entire 4 chapters. I will give you a bird's eye of this chart, but don't worry if you don't absorb everything and all the technical terms which are used here. This is only a bird's eye view. We are going to study each one of them in very big detail. The entire Mandukya Upanishad is here, right? In this particular, uh, in this particular. Now, this chart was given to me by one of the students of this class, Bharat. Bharat is based in UK. He has done Mandukya Upanishad 6 times, and he still loves this Upanishad. So he just shared this chart with me and he is doing the class notes, correction of some spellings, errors, and rephrasing them. He is helping me on that. So when he saw my notes, he said this chart might be useful. Okay. Mangala Shloka number 1 talks about macrocosm. Mangala Shloka number 2 talks about microcosm. Jiva's adhyasa and Jiva's avidya. Adhyasa means superimposition. That means I am a Jiva. When I look at the world outside, I take that to be reality. Why do I take it real? Because of adhyasa. I am superimposing the reality of the Atma on the world. That is the first Shanti mantra or the Mangala Shloka which we did. The second one focuses on the micro. Micro means the individual. Micro means vyashti in Sanskrit. Macro means samashti. I will introduce some of the technical terms. You just listen to it and you also call it vyashti, samashti, macrocosm, microcosm. In the microcosm, when the individual tries to understand who am I, there is something called as avidya. All of us have got avidya. Avidya here refers to mula avidya. Mula avidya means what? I don't know my higher nature as the pure consciousness. The best way to understand our higher nature is I am of the nature of pure consciousness. What is the meaning of this pure consciousness? Normally, consciousness is conditioned by the body. It is conditioned by the physical body in the waking state. Now you look at the central portion, 3. Quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3. Now, quarter 1 is dealing with is dealing with the waking state, which is the first state. And the second state is called as the dream state, which is conditioned by the subtle body. The first state is conditioned by gross body. That means in the waking state, I experience my physical body, gross body, and the gross universe. In the second state, I do not experience the physical body. I experience only my mind. And I have a dream world. That is the second state of consciousness. The third state is there is neither waking, neither dream, because the mind is resting and the physical body has been separated from me. That is what is called as the sleep state. There is another state which is called as the Turiya. It is the fourth state, and that is what is my goal. The entire study of Mandukya Upanishad is to let my mind travel from the waking to dream to sleep, and then ask the question, who am I in my sleep state? When you ask that question, not in sleep state, but in the waking state, then you get the knowledge of the Upanishad, which tells me that I am of the nature of pure consciousness. Pure consciousness is unconditioned consciousness. Unconditioned by any upadhi. Upadhi means body. There is no medium of transaction in the last state. If you have understood this, this is the main lesson in the entire Mandukya Upanishad. Each of this will be taken up for very detailed study. I'm giving you a bird's eye view of the entire Mandukya Upanishad, what it wants me to understand. Every time your mind is free, try to bring down this picture in your own mind. Who am I in my sleep state? Who am I in my sleep state? Ask this question. When you ask this question, what happens is there is an automatic process of mananam which goes on in your mind. That is the second level of all seekers. First is Shravanam, Mananam, and the last one is Nididhyas. Once your mind has become one-pointed, concentrated, focused, then it has the vision of the Turiya state. But for that, you need a pure mind. Today, our mind is not able to focus clearly. It's like a magnifying glass. Sunlight through a magnifying glass has the power to burn the paper. Without the magnifying glass, you can't burn the paper. Similarly, mind which is purified with preparations. It can be preparations in the way of chanting Vishnu Sahasranamam, chanting Rudram. It can be puja. It can be meditation. It can be Tirtha Yatra. It can be any type of japa. All this gives us mental purity. Mental purity, why do we need this mental purity? For understanding what is my real nature, which is in this Upanishad, it is called as Turiyam. In other Upanishads, it is called as Brahman. This is one part of our discussion. For the first waking state, the conditioned consciousness is called as Vishwa. In English, we call it the waker. A name is given for the second consciousness, conditioned consciousness. The name given is Taijasa. And the third name is given as Prajna for the sleeper. So what are the three names which I have? All of us have this name. Your normal name is for Vyavahara. But for studying your spiritual entity, you have got three names. Whether you're male or a female doesn't matter. These are common names for all of us. Vishwa, waker. Taijasa, dreamer. Prajna, sleeper. Remember, V-T, Vishwa, Taijasa, Prajna. Now, this is at the individual level. At the total level, names are given Virat, Hiranyagarbha, Ishvara. total sleeping state of the universe during Pralayam. It is called as Ishvara. Ishvara's definition in this Upanishad is very, very different than many normal Ishvara which we talk about. So here we are talking about the causal body, the causal prapancha. The second one is Hiranyagarbha. These are all names. Why do we use these names? Because in order to reach the Turiya, the Upanishad itself uses these technical names so that you can finally merge with that Turiyam as your nature. We will see how. The Upanishad has got a brilliant technique. And the technique which is used is Omkara Dhyanam. Omkara consists of three letters, alphabets. A, U, A. A stands for the waking state. U stands for the dream state. Ma stands for the sleep state. When you chant Om in your mind, the Upanishad expects you to travel through the waking, dream, and sleep. After chanting Om, you stop for 10 seconds. That 10 seconds gap between the next Om and the first Om, there is a silence. That silence is indicated by the fourth state, which is Turiyam. This is the inner meaning of Omkara. For all Upasakas, the meditators, they find this Omkara Upasana very useful to connect with Ishvara. It not only connects with Ishvara, the God principle, but it also goes beyond Ishvara to the absolute reality, which is called as Turiya. Okay? So, the ultimate reality is Turiyam. It is beyond any experience. It is available only for understanding. It is called as Ātman when you refer to it with reference to me, the individual body. It is called as Brahman when you take it as the totality. All our experiences are indicated by Omkara. The first three letters, when you hear the word, the alphabets Om, it refers to the Saguna Brahman. Saguna means that consciousness which is conditioned. It is conditioned consciousness. For example, space. Space outside is Brahman, like Brahman. Space in a room is conditioned by the wall. The space in your body is conditioned by the body. The space in a stadium is conditioned by the stadium's walls. So similarly, consciousness is all pervading. It is everywhere. It is of a higher nature. But when it comes to me, the body, it is conditioned. Because I always look at consciousness with reference to the body. In the waking state, dream state, sleep state, I have three bodies. So with reference to the three bodies, it is called as condition. But actually, is there a conditioning or not? No. That is the knowledge which Mandukya tells me. It will compare the space and consciousness, and it will say they have similar properties. It comes in the very first chapter, how to look at this consciousness. Very beautiful sections are there. Okay. Ultimately, what do? I drop my identification with the body, mind, and the world as a lower nature, which is the waking, which is called as the Vyavaharika Satyam. How do I look at Turiyam? Turiyam, I look at it as Paramarthika Satyam. Paramarthika Satyam means it is of a higher nature. It is not in time. It is beyond time. Time is a principle of the Vyavahara. In Vyavahara means transactions. You will always find time, everything happens in time. Your birth was in time, your education was in time, your marriage was in time, your children we got in time. Now you are an old man, you are 40 years old, 30 years old, what is the age? It's always in time. And in time, I work, I go to office, I cook food, all this happens in time. Normally, we are not aware of something which is beyond time. Mandukya Upanishad opens up our eye of knowledge, and it is this intellect which starts looking at something beyond time. It is possible. All our intellects, it is a very scientific method which Mandukya uses. Don't worry, even if you don't understand all of the things, you will be able to understand how to arrive at the final meaning. As you arrive at the final meaning, whether you understand the details in between or not is not important. What is important is, do I take myself as the body after the study of Mandukya, or do I take myself as the pure consciousness after the study of Mandukya? This is where the gap lies. The study will tell me I am pure consciousness. This is a time-tested methodology. Thousands of seekers in the past, in the current time, and in future will get this knowledge, and they will enjoy a sense of fulfillment in life, which you can never get by anything in the world. That is the promise of Mandukya Upanishad. So with this background, we will enter the study and revise what I have said in the last 25 minutes about this chart. Very useful chart. Go through it. When you're confused, you can ask me questions, but have patience. You will understand slowly all these terms. Not only you will understand, you will also be able to debate whether Upanishad mantra, which it defines these states, whether it is right, wrong, if there are any doubts, how to clarify those. The BASHYAM will help us. So once again, chapter 1, Agama Prakaranam, 12 mantras, 29 karikas. In the first chapter, I'm giving you now a summary. Okay, the first one is, what is the whole concept behind the teaching of Mandukya Upanishad? Now I am focusing only on the first chapter. We are starting our first chapter. In the first chapter, the title is Agama Prakaranam. Agama means Veda. What is the Veda teaching me about my nature. The 12 mantras are divided into two sections. There are two types of inquiries which are conducted in the 12 mantras. Verse number 1 talks about vichara of Chatushpat Atma. Atma is divided into 4 quarters. That is the definition in the first verse. In the second verse, the Upanishad says Omkara is also divided into 4 quarters. This is just the introduction of what is the inquiry which is being done in Mandukya Upanishad. Why we do Omkara Upasana, Omkara analysis with our Atma, that we will discuss when we do verse number 1 and 2. Verse number 3 to 7, 5 verses, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 5 verses, they talk about Atma Vichara. When you do Atma Vichara, you have to analyze threadbare who is the waker, who is the dreamer, who is the sleeper. When you understand the waker properly, we do not know what is my nature in the waking state without the study of Upanishads. Veda tells me this is what I am in the waking state. Veda tells me this is what I am in the dream state. Veda teaches me that this is what I am in the sleep state. So all these 3 states analyzed brilliantly. And the last one is, once you are able to negate the 3 states as not my real nature, they are appearing and going, disappearing. Dream comes, waker comes, sleep comes. This is our experience throughout our life so far. I'm sure all of you agree on this. The 3 states, they come and then they disappear. Who is the controller? We don't know. I am not the controller. There is some external controller of the 3 states, which we call it as Ishvara. It is Ishvara who controls waking, dream, and sleep. How does he control this? As per our prarabdha karma. Some have got 40 years of life. Some have got 60 years. Some have got 100 years. They have gone through this cycle of waking, dream, sleep so many times. Different times for different jivas. As per your law of karma, whatever your body is expected to perform action in this world, whatever is the body expected to have the enjoyership of this world, that is determined by the law of karma. But beyond this relative states, there is another state which is not changing. It is a changeless I. That is what we are experiencing every day, but we don't know that it is there. What Upanishad tells, it focuses my mind on that changeless state. The study of the 7th mantra and the study of the 2nd chapter, 3rd chapter, completely focuses on the 7th mantra. 7th mantra is the most important mantra in this entire 12 verses. This is dealing with Atma Vichara. Omkara Vichara is taken up primarily for Upasana, meditation. How Omkara can be used to reach Turiya. What Upanishad says is, you resolve the waking state, jiva, into the. Now you will be able to understand. The waking state, jiva's experiences, where do they ultimately resolve? Into the total. Your experiences, my experiences may be different. But where do they ultimately resolve? Into the samashti, in the totality of the waking state. It doesn't remain the same tomorrow. Again, tomorrow it changes. Day after tomorrow, again it will change. Similarly, you resolve the dream state into the prapancha, the world, dream world. So, A, U, and Ma. Om, when you chant, they all resolve into the silence. The next Om rises from that silence alone. What Upanishad says is, try to focus your attention on the silence between the two Oms. Expand that silence more and more during your meditation, and you will reach yourself. Simple. It looks very simple, but very difficult to do the upasana. Because the mind is chanchalam, always wavering. It wants something of the world. It will never allow you to sit in meditation. It will keep on thinking, I have to enjoy this, I have to enjoy this, I have to do this, I have to do that. In today's meditation, we are going to address this problem. So this is in short the 29 karikas and the 12 mantras. Now we will start with the introduction to the first mantra. Introduction to the first mantra of the Mandukya Upanishad. Shankaracharya writes an elaborate commentary. It will take us 3-4 sessions only to do the introduction portion of the introduction portion. Then we will come into the actual verse and what the actual verse meaning is. In this, so whenever you see a paragraph like this is exactly the commentary of Shankaracharya. At any time you want to glance through the commentary of all the 29 verses, there are some seekers who are very advanced seekers, like Bharat, for example, he has done 6 times. There are many seekers who have done Omkara with so many different Swamijis. They have written to me, I have done this, but I still love to do this again with you. Because the subject matter is so inspiring. Every time you do this Mandukya Upanishad, you'll find that you're going more deeper. Something you didn't understand before, you find suddenly you are able to understand. That is why they say repetition in Upanishad or Vedanta is very useful. What does Shankaracharya say in the introduction? He will try to tell us why does the Upanishad use Omkara for the analysis of Atma. That is the central portion of the introduction. And then the first mantra will talk about Om is everything in this world. So by understanding Om, if Om is everything, the sound Om and the meaning which that Om has, the meaning of Om is ultimately this Nirguna Atma. That is what he is going to arrive at. The Upanishad also arrives at, the first verse also arrives at that same meaning. So here what he says is, how does this Omkara analysis done? How does it become the means of knowing that fourth pada, the tattvam, which is the Atma? If you were to ask this question, based on the Veda mantras like Kathopanishad, Om iti etat, Now he is quoting different Upanishads. You see, this is a style which I very much like of Shankaracharya. See, many people have done several Upanishads. Even if you have not done, doesn't matter. If you have done, this becomes a revision of other Upanishads. You see, that is the beauty of doing the BASHYAM. You will get Shankaracharya's style is amazing. For whatever he wants to explain, immediately he will quote 4 or 5 different Upanishads with the same idea. Here he is picking up all the Upanishadic mantras which are explaining the word Om. I have given you some of these Kathopanishad and all that. I have put in the notes itself. So you don't have to go back to Kathopanishad to search for those mantras. You will find them in my class notes itself. So Kathopanishad says, Om iti eta. Om is everything. It is the symbol. Etat alambanam. Alambanam means in Sanskrit symbol. A symbol like a flag of a country. It represents India. It represents Singapore. It represents America. Flag. So flag is not the country, but it is a symbol. So what is Om? It is a symbol for Atma. That is what is said in Kathopanishad. Prashnopanishad says, Etadvai Satyakama. This is the means for getting the highest in this universe. Prashnopanishad is a very beautiful Upanishad which has got 6 students and 1 Acharya. All the questions of the students are answered by the Acharya. In that, there is this section in the 5th chapter, 2nd mantra. It says, this Om is nothing but it is a means to arrive at our real nature. Aparam Brahma and Param Brahma. It is the same Turiyam which is appearing as the waker. It is the same Turiyam which is appearing as the dreamer. Same Turiyam which is appearing as the sleeper. If I have to go back to the Turiyam, what do? As a waker, I drop the wakerhood. As a dreamer, I drop the dreamerhood. As a sleeper, I drop this status of being the sleeper. What do I keep in common? Atma. I keep that consciousness, pure consciousness, which is the 4th state, from where only all these 3 states are coming. And they are going. But is it the truth? Many of you will ask this question. Is it so simple? Upanishad says, yet it's very simple. Every day you're experiencing this, but you don't know that that is your real nature, and the relative body-mind is only relative. That is eternal. Atma is eternal. It is changeless. Changeless means it is always there. That is my Swarupam. That is my real nature. See, the meaning of Mandukya Upanishad is very powerful. It can directly take you to the Turiya Avastha very easily. You just have to follow the logic which Shankaracharya is using. In Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, Maitreya Upanishad, there is one more Upanishad, it's called as Maitreya Upanishad. This is a minor Upanishad. In the 6th chapter, it says, with the help of Omkara mantra, try to fix your mind on Atma. Om iti Atmanam yunjita. Yunjita means try to fix it. Like you fix a nail on the wall and then hang a picture. Similarly, you fix your mind in what? In Om. Continuously chanting Om, 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 Om. This is what is called as Omkara Japa. Initially, chant for 1 minute, 2 minutes. Sit down quietly, close your eyes in front of any, in your prayer room. Just chant for 1 minute. Om, Om. Let it just ring in your subconscious mind. So what happens when this happens? Immediately when you wake up in the morning, the first thing which you will think about is Om. You give it a practice, give it a, try it out. Before sleeping, chant Om 10 times. That's all. And then sleep. So here Upanishad says very clearly, use Omkara to meditate. Om iti Atmanam yunjita. Mahanarayana Upanishad, Taittiriya Upanishad, they also talk about Omkara as Brahman. Om iti Brahma. Om is all what you experience in the world. Everything which you experience is Om. Simple. If you see, this is how Veda is very beautiful. It gives us some techniques to put all our experiences into one small sound symbol. Om is a sound symbol. It is heard. You chant and you hear Om. So it is a symbol. So with this symbol, what happens? My goal is not the symbol. My goal is to go beyond the symbol to the silence. That silence, I really don't know how to fix it. But when I chant the symbol Om, and I get the knowledge from the Upanishad that Omkara is Saguna Brahman and Nirguna Brahman. Saguna means what? All the three states is with gunas. Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. That is the basis on which the three states are coming and going. It is called as Maya Shakti. So, here in this brilliant commentary, the introduction, you see how intense it is. You're able to understand how important this word Omkara is, how different Upanishads are talking about the same reality. So all the teaching which I have done in the past, whether it is Bhagavad Gita, whether it is Kathopanishad, Aitareya Upanishad, all those is nothing but teaching of Om. Because Om is everything. It is the entire universe. Through Omkara analysis, Atma is revealed. How can Omkara analysis help us in this self-knowledge? Word is outside, Atma is inside. But Atma, when you say inside, it is only with reference to the body. With reference to the world, it is outside. Atma is everywhere, all pervading. Purva Pakshi asked this question. What is the connection between Omkara and Atma? See, this is the style of Shankaracharya's commentary and also Gaudapada's commentary. Veda itself answers Om is a means to understand Atma because Om represents the seen world, manifest and unmanifest. But beyond this world, the seen and the unseen world, there is a substratum. That substratum is the silence. So, a comparison is made with the analysis of Atma and the analysis of Omkara. That is the gist of this entire 12 mantras. Here the question is asked by a Purva Pakshi, Omkara is a word. How is it possible to represent a word with a symbol. That is what Shankaracharya slowly is going to expand. All these talks for the next 3-4 sessions is only going to be the introduction only. We are not going to the first mantra. First mantra will come after another 25 slides. Symbol is used to meditate on Saguna Brahman and Nirguna Brahman. What is the meaning of? I told you Brahman means it is the ultimate reality. In philosophy, it is called as reality. In religious terms, it is called as God. God is equal to Brahman plus Maya Shakti. There is a Shakti for this Brahman. This Nirguna Brahman has a Shakti, has a power. Power is always held by a sentient principle. That sentient principle is called as Brahman. The power is the matter principle. So, Saguna Brahman means it is that Nirguna Brahman without any conditioning, when it is using its power to project this world, it becomes Sagunam Brahma. Sagunam means it is with gunas. So what is the reality? Reality can be either with gunas or without gunas. When it is without guna, it is called as Nirgunam Brahma. When it is with the gunas, it is called as Sagunam Brahma. For example, right now, is it Sagunam or Nirgunam? You are experiencing your body. Your body is a mixture of 3 gunas, Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. The world you are experiencing is a mixture of Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. So that means right now our experience is Sagunam Brahma. When you go to sleep, are you experiencing body? No. Are you experiencing the world? No. So at that time, what is happening? I am there, but it is not in the form of gunas, but it is in the form of Swarupaha. Swarupaha means it is your intrinsic nature. I am Nirgunam Brahma, without any gunas. See, why this body comes and goes, that is a different matter. But what we are understanding now is, what is the intrinsic nature of the whole universe? It is Nirgunam Brahma. That Nirgunam Brahma includes me also. What Shankaracharya says is, normal words like Krishna, Rama, they are not symbols for this Nirgunam Brahma, or also Shaligrama, flame, lingam. They are turmeric. For Ganesha, you have a symbol. It is a turmeric, it's just a turmeric powder. You make it in a form, it becomes a symbol for Ganesha. But that symbol is used for puja purposes. Omkara is a unique word and the symbol to know the reality which appears as the universe in its lower nature. What is the higher nature of Omkara? Silence. What is the higher nature of the world? Nirgunam Brahma. Silence represents Nirgunam Brahma. Omkara represents the sound. In the reality, it represents the entire 3 worlds of waking, dream, and sleep. See how beautifully the Upanishad teaches us what is our real nature. Shruti Pramanam, whenever we are trying to understand our nature, don't use your intellect and try to come to a conclusion. always you use what is the Shruti. Shruti means what is the Veda telling me? Because your intellect is a part of this universe. Intellect has to be ultimately dropped. In order to reach your consciousness, you have to drop your intellect. Okay? So the silence is a very beautiful symbol to understand my nature of consciousness, which is without any conditioning. The sound is with conditioning. A, U, Ma is whenever you chant, it is a sound. It is conditioned by alphabets. These are the mantras which which Shankaracharya has quoted. I have taken it out and I have given it to you so that you can have the full meaning of the words of the. This is what I will be doing in all my notes. I'll be presenting most of it wherever it is possible to locate the mantras. I will be putting in the notes. So this is the advantage of going through the notes. But if you want to run through the actual meaning of commentary, just go through the commentary. You will get the gist of the entire meaning which is there in the notes. So Yamadharmaraja tells in Kathopanishad that the goal of the Veda is what all brahmacharis are leading to. See, when you are a brahmachari means when you are starting in the field of spiritual study, to him it is taught Omkara is your ultimate goal. That is what Yamadharmaraja is teaching the student Nachiketa in Kathopanishad. And he also says in the next few mantras, he says, Etat alambanam shreshtam. It is paramam. Know that greatest Omkara as the means to understand the absolute reality, which is your own true nature. Etat alambanam nyatva. Nyatva means knowing that Omkara, Brahmaloke mahiyate. You will reach the ultimate world of Brahmaji, the creator itself. Don't imagine it is in some far off place, in some Vaikuntha and all that. It is in your own very heart. In your own intellect, it is there. Taittiriya Upanishad in the second chapter, the first mantra itself it says, Brahmavida apnoti param. Tesham yuktam. Where do you find this Brahman? In your own intellect. Prashnopanishad, this is the mantra which is quoted. Om is a symbol for the lower and higher nature of Brahman. Conditioned and unconditioned. Conditioned is the finite form. Unconditioned is the infinite form. No limit for that form. When you look at the world and the cosmos, what the cosmologists say, infinite stars and galaxies and Milky Ways, infinite. What an amazing universe this is. That is what is indicated by Om. Maitreya Upanishad, we are not able to get the mantra Om iti etat Ātman. Taittiriya Upanishad, Om iti Brahma. Om itidam sarvam. Idam sarvam. That means this entire world is Om. All these mantras, Chandogya Upanishad, Omkara eva idam sarvam. In the second chapter, Chandogya Upanishad consists of 8 chapters. The first 5 chapters are all for meditation. This is coming from the second chapter. And this is a very, very beautiful section of Chandogya Upanishad where it tells us how I should meditate on Omkara. Prajapati meditated on Om Bhu Bhuva Swaha. This meditation leads him to the ultimate. That is why Omkara, this Gayatri mantra chanting and meditation will lead you to the ultimate. All this is Omkara. That is, see, in today's session, what have we learned? Omkara is a very, very precious word in Sanskrit. It is a symbol which represents the entire study, what we are doing. If you chant Om, stop in between, again chant Om, stop in between. If you can do this continuously, you will reach the ultimate. It is for you, it is an inner wisdom. It is not that you can teach that to somebody else. They themselves have to practice in order to have that experience of the silence in their own intellect. Whole creation is represented by the sound Om. Creation consists of Nirguna portion and Saguna portion. Saguna portion is called as Jagat with Maya Shakti. Nirguna portion is called as Purushaha. These are all terms used in Vedanta. So silence represents Purusha, sound Om represents the Saguna portion. A-U-Ma stands for the three states. Nirgunam Brahma stands for silence. Prashno Upanishad tells, meditate, fix your mind on Atma with Om. Mandukya Upanishad, 6 mantras are given. The first mantra plus 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. They all talk about Omkara Dhyanam. Omkara can lead us to silence consciousness. This silence is called as a matra. A matra means what? There is no alphabet. See this Omkara, in the top you can see this one. This portion is called as a matra. That means it represents consciousness. Uma is waking, dream, and sleep, and sound Om, and the silence is the A matra, which is called as Chaturtaha. Chaturtaha, as you study in the Upanishad, when we come to the 7th mantra, what Shankaracharya and Gaudapadacharya says is, it is 4th in relation to the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. But by itself, it alone is. That is the teaching. Atma alone is. Your Atma, my Atma, yours and I. When I use your or mine, it is with reference to the body. But Atma is one. Amatra represents Prapancho Upashamam. It is Prapancho Upashamam means what? It represents where the entire experienced world resolves, whether it is waking, dream, or sleep. Experienced world is called as Prapanchaha. Upashamaha means it is the ground of resolution. All that is indicated by the 4th matra, which is actually a matra. It is Turiyam. It is Shivaha. Shivaha means auspicious. Shantaha. It is the embodiment of peace. Sarvamiti Omkara, Atma eva. Like in a TV, when you watch a cricket match or a football match, you see the TV will show all the field. And then it will show the bowler's face or the batsman. So what Shankaracharya has done is, he has told us what is all this Omkara. All whatever is this first chapter, he has shown us. And now he is going to tell us details of each area of this Upanishad. Of the first mantra itself, he will now slowly present the introduction to the first mantra in a very focused way. Like I said, introduction itself is running into several pages. Be patient, understand the way Shankaracharya is teaching us through his methodology. We also will come. This is the best way to study Upanishad. It will take a long time, doesn't matter, but your intellect will understand the concept brilliantly. Like today, what we have learned, the Omkaracharya, how the waking dream sleep, this type of study is a very intense study. It is not done by many teachers. We are fortunate to do this study. We have just started it. I'm sure you will enjoy it as we go by. What is the connection between Omkara analysis and self-knowledge is what we are going to go in the next week. We are going to study that next week. Some of these revision, when I say, I will not go through all the portion. It just told us what is the bird's eye view of the 4 chapters and what is the first chapter. And then it boiled down to telling us Omkara is everything. So far, that is what we have studied. The introduction continues, and I will just introduce this particular slide, and then next week we will go into the depth of this slide. Here, Shankaracharya is introducing the very famous example of rope and rope snake. What is he saying in this particular paragraph, in this commentary? What he says is, like you have the adhishtanam, the substratum, aspada. He calls this adhishtanam as aspada. See, these words, whatever is here indicated is all from this description here. The Sanskrit portion is entirely described in this. That is the beauty of this type of commentary. Rajvadi, Aspada, all these are words used in the commentary. And so this truth is nothing but like the rope for a rope snake. In a rope, you can have different types of projections. Some may look at the rope as a streak of water. This example is going to come continuously in all the chapters of this Upanishad, and almost all Upanishads will have rope snake example. So it's important to study this rope snake example very clearly. Shankaracharya does a brilliant work in this Mandukya Upanishad to give a very detailed analysis of rope snake. Here he says that the rope snake can appear as the streak of water. It can appear as a snake. Similarly, that Atma, which is the ultimate reality, which is the truth, which is the adhishtanam, the aspada of the world, it is the adhishtanam. But what are we experiencing? We are experiencing illusionary world. What does this illusion consist of? It consists of prana, it consists of indriyams. So similar, like the rope is the adhishtanam for the rope snake, similarly for Atma, which is the adhishtanam, for pranas, indriyas. Prana, indriya is only reference to our body. You can include everything else. So Omkara is the adhishtanam for all the words in all the languages, which reveal objects like the prana and everything else which is superimposed on Atma. The gist of this commentary is, slowly Shankaracharya is going to tell us whatever is represented in the world of words. Now, this is what I'm going to explain in the next week, in the next session. The world of words is nothing but the Adhishtanam Omkara. So if you know the whole, if you know Om, you will know the whole universe. If you know the Adhishtanam Atma, you will know the entire three states which we experience. Okay, the time is up. I will close for today. We'll continue with this slide number 50 next week. Oh, Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudacchade Purnasya Purnamathaya Purnameva Vasishyade. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Okay, first we will take up the chat box and see what questions are there, and then I will open up for discussions in the group. What is the difference between Shruti logic and principles versus common parlance logic? Is there a place where you can read more? Would that be useful in understanding the Upanishads more? You don't need to go through these separate understanding of this. During the study of Mandukya Upanishad, I will tell you that this is the Shruti logic. It is not with reference to your common logic which you use in Vyavahara. For example, Karanam and Karya. Karanam means cause. Karyam means effect. In the normal parlance, you will use that Karanam and Karyam in a certain way. For example, the milk becomes curd. Karanam is the milk, Karyam is the curd. This is Vyavahara. What Shruti is saying is, don't use this logic. You use another logic. And that is what the Shruti wants you to use, and that is, use the logic of Karanam and Karyam like waker and dreamer. Waker is the Karanam and Karyam is the dream effect. This is called as Shruti logic. In the Shruti logic, it is called as, I'm just going to give you some terms, but don't get too much engaged in these terms. So in the Shruti language, it is called as Vivarta Karana. Whereas in the common parlance, it is called as Parinami Karana. Don't worry about it. So I will explain to you as we go through the study. Amini, you will find that you will be able to understand the difference between the two. And always, to understand Vedanta, you have to use the Shruti logic. Normally, common parlance in or common Vyavahara itself, we use certain logical ways of thinking. What the Upanishads, what Shankaracharya says is, you should use Shruti. That means, Shruti means the Upanishad will tell you this is the way you think. Let your thought go in that direction to arrive at the ultimate Atma. So, Amini, have I answered your question? Are you around? You can unmute yourself and say if you can reply. So Shanmugam is unmuting everybody.
Yes, thank you. Totally understood.
Okay, good. Okay, good. The next question is about, is there one universal causal body, or does each jiva have a unique individual causal body? Good question. This is another question from Amini. Hani, okay, before that, is there one universal causal, or does this is from Hani Reda? So this, what he is asking, what Hani is asking is, in Tattva Bodha, when you do Tattva Bodha, the basic fundamental text, it tells us that there is an individual and a total. Total causal body is called as Karana Prapancha, causal universe. Individual causal body is called as Vyashti Karana Shariram. Shariram is a word which is used for individual, and Prapancha is a word used for total, universal. How to understand this? Causal body means it is invisible, first thing. Second is, it is the residual storehouse of all the Punya Papa karmas, which means Sanchita, Prarabdha, and Agama karmas which are there in my account. That is what is called as causal body. In our day-to-day life, what happens? From that Karana causal body, some of the Papam and Punyam, they get fructified and they experience life. One day you experience a small portion of that I experience, and it comes in the form of Sukham and Dukkha. Now, look at the total universe. Whenever Bhagavan wants to create a world, you know, we have different yugas. There are different yugas. In each yuga, you have a different shrishti itself. Complete universe is changed so that it can fructify the prarabdha karmas of the jivas and the sanchita karmas of the jivas in that particular yuga. So, at the totality level, there is one. At the individual level, there is another one, causal. Now, both is called as Maya. It is called as the Shakti of Ishvara. And there is your life, for example, Shankaracharya makes it very clear, even other authors, they make it very clear in other advanced texts of Vichara Sagara. They say that the individual Shariram also is a part of the totality. That means your karma, you may live a long life to fulfill not only your own karma, but also the karma of your children, of your friends, of the society. If the society needs you to be there, you will be there. So our life depends on our own individual karma and the karma of others who need me to be present for their own fulfillment. It's very, very beautiful structure of the universe. So, Hani, have you understood?
Yes. So, yes, Shri. It sounds like it both is true. There is an individual, and there is a at the cosmic level, you can say, at the total level, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, because I think last week when we spoke about deep sleep state, and we said that, you know, the subtle body, the Sukshma Sharira is not active, but the Karana Sharira is remains active.
Correct.
And the Sakshi is illuminating the Karana Sharira in the deep sleep state. And that is how we are able to experience that there is an experience there of an absence, of an absence of any objects. And then when we wake up, our memory is really of that experience that was registered in the Karana Sharira. Is that correct?
Yes, you're right. Correct. Yes.
Okay. And then the other reason I was interested in this question is because when it comes to transmigration, the Karana Sharira, if I understood correctly, with the Sukshma Sharira, they transmigrate. So the Sthula Sharira is discarded, and then together the Sukshma and the Karana are transmigrating together. Is that that's correct, right?
Yes.
And the karma is all registered in the Karana Sharira.
Correct.
Very good. So, G, I was just going to ask if I want to read a bit more in detail about this process. Last week you mentioned Chandogya Upanishad as one good place where this process of transmigration is explained. I think you mentioned Chandogya Upanishad, and I think you said also Bhagavad Gita.
The Bhagavad Gita gives us very small portion of it. But if you study Brahmanic Upanishad and Chandogya Upanishad, some of the portions there talk about how the transmigration takes place, and then there are descriptions of what are the stations of a soul when he goes through these different in the path of the journey. What are the stations? Which are the devatas which will assist the jiva? All that is said in the Puranas as well as in this in Brahmanic Upanishad and in Chandogya Upanishad. There are certain portions. If you search, you will be able to locate them. But don't get too involved in that, because as a seeker, all the acharyas, they tell us these are all meant for people who are interested in other lokas. And what they say is, the moment you have come to Vedanta, okay, you read about it, but don't take it too seriously, because ultimately all this is going to be rejected. It is going to be negated as mithya. It is going to be negated as just mithya appearances, mithya knowledge, mithya. Everything is going to be negated finally. So Shankaracharya is very clear. He says, okay, your curiosity purposes, you go through those sections. Upanishad has got it. You see, there are some very strong believers in rituals who don't want moksha. They want to go to other lokas only for satisfaction of higher sharirams. So even though the Veda has got descriptions of the higher lokas, and this path of a jiva is mentioned in chapter 8 of Bhagavad Gita, in a nutshell, you will find Shukla Gati, Krishna Gati. Krishna Gati is the dark path, Shukla Gati is the bright path. If you go through this Shukla Gati, you will, what happens is with the Krishna Gati, if you go, you will come back to this world. Shukla Gati, you will go to the Brahma Loka, and in Brahma Loka, you will get the same knowledge from Brahmaji, and you will get liberated. So ultimate liberation is only from knowledge. So you can study, but just be careful that you don't get lost, because that's all Maya.
I understand. I think it's also clear, sir, if I may say, it also feels less philosophical. Like
that's right.
This kind of logic and beautiful logic that we use in Vedanta itself, what Shankaracharya shows us, seems very different to all of that stuff, which doesn't seem to be based on clear logical arguments, things like that. It's not proven. It's just taken on authority. Is that right?
That's correct. Those are all beliefs. See, you have to say Upanishads say this. They say that the Puranas are saying this. It is a belief system. There is no logic used. You see, there is no logic to say how will the body die here and it will travel. Those there's no answer to those questions.
Understood. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Amini is asking one more question. Is Ishvara, Saguna Brahman, God, seen as another persona in the Upanishad, or is it a state of being experienced within us? Okay. See, whenever we say Ishvara, this question will get answered in the sixth mantra of Mandukya Upanishad. The moment you come to the sixth mantra, many questions which the seekers have about Ishvara will get answered. Because this Mandukya Upanishad has got special significance of what is this Ishvara. And okay, in short, to answer your question, Saguna Ishvara means the world. The moment you are seeing the world, you are seeing God. That is what Lord Krishna says in the 10th and the 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Vibhuti Yoga, and this Vishwarupa Ishvara. So that is what Upanishad also says. The whole world is nothing but Ishvara. It is Saguna. It is one form of God. Now, seen as another persona. Now, persona means what? What we say in the Shastra, what it says, especially if you study Purusha Sukta. Okay, Purusha Sukta, if you get a chance, study that. It is about a few verses. You can Google and find out. In Purusha Sukta, Shankaracharya uses that Purusha Sukta many times in Mandukya. What it says is there is a cosmic being. There is a Virat Purusha. There is a Hiranyagarbha. And there is Ishvara. Ishvara is the causal form. Subtle form is Hiranyagarbha, which is represented by the sun. Surya Bhagwan is nothing but Hiranyagarbha. And Virat form. Virat means it is another form of Ishvara, which is the gross form. So Ishvara can be represented in these three forms. When you say persona, it means what? It is a cosmic being. There is a cosmic being, and the description of that cosmic being is beautifully given in Purusha Sukta. So your answer is lying in Purusha Sukta. Now, in the Upanishad, what it says is that this is how the structure of the universe is. There is Ishvara, there is Hiranyagarbha, there is Virat. That is the totality of the universe. At the Veshti level, this is what it is. As individual, I have a very limited intellect. I will never be able to see that Purusha completely. Never. You may have some glimpses about Vishnu, about Shiva in your meditations and so on, but those are all conditioned. It is never permanent. The picture which the Upanishad gives is, it tells you that this is the nature of Vishnu, this is the nature of Shiva, this is the nature of Devi. These are all the forms of one God which is formless. That is what the Upanishad is saying. Ultimate God is only one, which is formless. But it is represented as with form, Ganesha form, Shiva form, Vishnu form, Devi form. Now, these are all the forms. Why are these forms given? The forms are given only for two things. One is to do Panchayatana Puja. Every day, Smarthas. We are all called as Smarthas because we don't believe in one God. We believe in one God, but with different forms. So in Panchayatana Puja, what happens? We take the 5 different deities, we put them, our own Ishta Devata in the center, and we do a puja. We don't say there is only Vishnu, we don't say only Shiva, we don't say only Devi is there. We say these are all the different forms of one ultimate formless God. That formless God is defined as Brahman with Maya Shakti. So this is the totality. I can go on and on, but this is just to give you a sample of an answer for you. Okay, Amini, is it clear?
Yeah, sorry. Yes. So the reason I asked is, yes, it was very clear that yes, we can speak of a cosmic being, but what I'm understanding also is where we find the reconciliation between the cosmic being Ishvara and our inner self is the Turiya, is the fourth stage, whereby there maybe in a sense there is
Oneness.
Yes, oneness, exactly. Between what I consider myself as an individual and the cosmic totality. And I think that's much more important, right? The focus for Turiya, for the fourth state, for the conditionless state. Yeah.
Correct.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You have understood it perfectly. The moment you come to the causal level, you are talking about oneness. There is no individual, there is no totality. Everything is only one. That is what is the teaching of Veda. So there is no difference between, there is no Veda, there is no difference between human beings at all. That is the beauty of Veda. It teaches us to be one. We are all one ultimately. It is, are you able to see that oneness, or you are not able to see the oneness? If you are conditioned by the society about what you hear from the media, from the TV channels and all that, you will be lost. But what you have understood is correct. At the causal level, it is oneness, it is aikyam. That is what Veda is teaching. That is the vision I should have when I am living in this body. While living itself, if I can have that vision of oneness, it is called as freedom from samsara. I don't bother about whatever my mind goes through as painful situations and so on. Good. You understood it. Rama, how to chant Om as a regular practice? Is it detailed in any of the Upanishads? Okay. See, there are different ways of chanting Om. But the simplest way is to say O and M. In English, O, M. That's all. Om. Chant Om, 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 Om. So when you're chanting, use just these two words, these two alphabets. Many people make a mistake of elongating the A or elongating the Ma. These are different schools in India who teach those type of chanting. Generally, what we have been taught in the Shastra, in our schools of thought, which is the Vedantic schools, which teach Upanishads, they simply say chant Om, Om, Om without any elongation at the, like for example, Aum, that is A elongated. So they are not generally taught in our Vedantic schools. There are other schools which teach us, but if you want to chant, my suggestion is just chant the way it's a very simple chanting. What we are doing in our class is a simple chanting. So please follow that. Rama, is it clear?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Okay, good. There are no other questions in the chat box. I open it now for discussions. If you have any questions in your own mind, please ask them now. You can unmute yourself and ask.
Hari Om, Shekharji.
Yeah, Hari Om. Nice to see you back.
Yeah, no, thank you. It's incredible the amount of work and how beautifully you have put together. I love the overview. Immediately, the whole feast is presented to you. When you see the overview, you feel so delighted just to see it's like as if you've been invited to a feast. Yeah. So you see the whole thing laid out for you. So that's the beauty of it. And actually today morning I was just writing, to myself, what an invitation. So because even before I entered the class, I was feeling so good in the morning after my meditation. It's like an invitation. What greater fortune may befall a hungry, exhausted pilgrim that seeks the Lord, that seeks the very source that sustains her. At last she understands, mesmerized by this world of ever-changing forms of sights and delights, of sounds and colors, of sweet murmurings, of bitter discord that so cleverly separates and all of that. And a moment of pause, and you move away into your conscious awareness of your own inner journey. I love the whole spiritual journey and how we are doing it. My question to you, would you agree that Mandukya Upanishad, I mean, you said that this will be the key central. Suppose you read all the other Upanishads and you haven't read Mandukya or studied, it would be incomplete, wouldn't it?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
In my opinion, yes.
It will be very incomplete.
Yes.
On the other hand, if one read and studied only the Mandukya, we would be quite okay.
Yeah, you will feel that you have got the gist of the entire 12 Upanishads.
Yeah. And yeah, the other question is about the Om chanting is, could we do that silently as well? For example, we could be in a big crowd or in a train or whatever. And
Yeah, you can do it.
Yeah, so
yes,
in
there
fact,
are two ways in the chanting. Initially, for most of us, we start with verbal chanting, which means with sound you chant. This is for the beginners.
Okay.
So after some time, for a senior seeker, once you have practiced, you chant mentally. But make sure that your mind doesn't wander in between. See, every time the mind wanders, Om chanting, immediately bring it back. So that way, if you do it and you practice and your practice grows, you will find immense joy and immense peace flowing in your own mind.
Yeah.
Immense. You can't describe it, but you will experience it.
And so the whole study and search and seeking is almost like, when we are little children, you're so eager to know this and that, learn this and learn that. And then slowly and steadily we realize, there's no end to how much, the universe is so unlimited. And we ourselves, I mean, in our own mental intellect, it is limited, isn't it? That's the way it is.
But when you do Mandukya Upanishad, after you do the first chapter, you go to the second chapter and the third chapter. When you finish the third chapter, you will tell me there is nothing else in the world to learn.
Yeah,
I give you guarantee. You will say that I have gone through the 29 verses, 38 verses, 48 verses, 3 chapters. If I go through these verses, your intellect will be so fulfilled, it will have no questions, and you will feel completely fulfilled in life. That is the beauty of this Mandukya Upanishad.
Already with the 3 classes, it seems like on a daily basis, I just feel amazed at how we are actually given the opportunity of where in our wakeful state, you can zoom out and the whole of the Saguna Brahman is available. So you worship that. And then you go into a dream state, which must be doing its own thing, which obviously there is no volition, there is no voluntary, you don't determine your dreams, isn't it? It just
Yeah.
happens.
Correct.
And then of course you're in the sleep state, you know, in your proper Turiya state, I mean, Turiya state. So in other words, the question which I'm asking is, if we are truly true seekers, could we not be worshipping all of the time? You know, first it is Saguna Brahman.
Yes.
So
That's correct.
regardless of
You
whether
don't
you're
need to.
reading,
You don't
studying,
need
or
to.
you're
Yes.
worshipping, you know, like I'm here in the class and this thing, to me, it feels like a worship. Why is it not a worship? You know, because the whole of my heart and the mind, if it is there, I must be worshipping. I'm asking this question, you know.
Yeah, you're right. What you're saying is correct. You see, in the text called as Vichara Sagara, which I refer many, many times, in the 7th chapter of the Vichara Sagara, this question is asked to the Jnani. And the question is, now you are a Jnani, do you need to meditate at all or not? And do you need to do anything specific in life?
Yeah.
The answer is given by the author, Nischala Dasa, who is a great teacher, amazing teacher he is. This teacher existed only about 500-600 years ago. And the way he answers the question is, a Jnani is completely free. He can do whatever he wants. He can sit down. There are and what it says is, there is one set of Jnanis who like to be in meditation and increase their own joy of meditation. That is one category. The second category is who come into the world and then they do whatever the prarabdha is making them do.
Yeah.
They don't do anything because they have already realized that they are not the body.
Yeah.
So if you're not the body, you and I can also realize this. You see, the body will undergo through its prarabdha karma.
Yeah.
My son, my daughter, my surroundings, my property, all those things will continue in life. But then what will happen? I am not attached to that as my real nature.
Exactly.
I say to myself, oh, and I say that is my real nature for myself. It is not for sharing with others, but I have the inner joy of fulfillment of knowing I am of the nature of consciousness.
Yeah, but I mean, I know we will be discussing the Om Vichara, but for the moment, it would be, so when I'm chanting Om, I'm actually affirming that I'm in the nature of pure consciousness, the Brahmasmi, the Satchit Ananda,
Yes.
you know, isn't it?
Yes.
That is really
Yes.
literally the whole essence of
That
Om.
is the practice of the chanting of Om, and what I should do while practicing Om. This is what I should do mentally.
Yeah, and that Satchit Ananda would be almost the aspiration of each and every seeker, whoever it is, isn't it? Where
it
I'm
doesn't
looking.
remain as an aspiration, it becomes my nature.
Correct. Which will, I mean, I'm not there, but yeah, I
So,
hope to.
I'm just saying that initially it is an aspiration. I want to reach that Satchidananda Atma. I want to reach. I want to reach that Atma. That is the path.
Journey.
The journey. But the moment you arrive at Satchidananda, what is the experience? I was Satchidananda all the time. Now I am realizing I am this pure consciousness.
Yeah. And on the journey, like even fleeting glimpses actually are so promising, where you feel, you know, say like just even listening to your class, or even when you're not delivering it, but you can hear it afterwards. This is all really an invitation. So right now I like to say that it's been such an invitation. Thank you.
Thank you, Shama. Thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah. Shanta, you have a question?
Yeah, just, you know, following on what Shama said and what you answered to her is when you get to the Jivan Mukta point, you said there are people who prefer to sit in the cave or meditate, continue meditate and enjoy the joy of meditation itself. and the others who come and, do their prarabdha karma of teaching others or getting people on the journey. By Is it not that those people who choose to be in their meditation state and enjoy that meditation is also a part of their prarabdha karma?
It is, it is.
So we
It
can't
is
say
their
that they're being
prarabdha
selfish.
karma which says that they have to enjoy that particular ananda in the meditation state. That's it.
Yeah. So it is not like they're being selfish and not trying to spread the
No,
knowledge
no,
or.
no, no. It is the prarabdha karma. It is what the law of nature is forcing them to do. That's all. You see, your nature, you see, all the bodies in this world, suppose you say, I am not the doer of action. I am, then what happens? Then you are submitting yourself to the law of the world, of the nature. So whatever the nature brings joys, it brings sorrow, or it brings a mixed variety of joy and sorrow. What it is, let me go through it. You see, then what happens is you lighten up your mind. You're not putting conditions in your mind. I must do this, I must do this, I must get this enjoyment, I must have this attachment, I must have these possessions. You don't put any condition. You learn to live life without conditions. That is the benefit of listening to Vedanta.
Coming to my question now, I know you did explain about Shruti logic, but could you just repeat a little bit on that? Because I know I couldn't fully understand the difference between the normal, which is Karanam and Karyam,
Yeah.
and the Shruti one. If you could repeat, that would be great.
Okay.
Thank you.
I won't go to the Karanam and Karyam example.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I
You
just
know,
want the Shruti part. Yeah.
what I'm saying is that you see, while living in the world, we all are used to thinking that this world is real because I am experiencing it. This is what is our normal logic. Okay. What is the logic? I experience the world, therefore world exists.
Exists.
What Shankaracharya teaches us in the second chapter is, he says, because you experience the world, it is not real. Can you see the difference?
Okay.
That is Shruti logic.
Okay.
Common logic is what? I experience the world, I experience a phone, I experience this, therefore it is real, it is existing. But what Shruti is saying, because you are experiencing it, experience is like your dream. You are experiencing a dream, but dream is not real. Any experience. So Shankaracharya extrapolates the dream example. He says, because waking is experienced, therefore, like dream is experienced, waking is also experienced. Dream is unreal, waking is unreal. This is Shruti logic.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, that's
Good.
clear now. It's
Yeah.
much more, I could put it in
But
my
that
brain and
example
take
which
it.
I told you about Karanam and Karyam is also another example, but that requires a lot of explanation.
Okay.
In Mandukya, in the third chapter, in the 23rd verse, this is explained in about 4 or 5 sessions.
Okay.
What I told you, just Karanam and Karyam and all that, it requires a long explanation.
Okay. No, that's fine. I mean, this was the basic. At least I know now the difference between, that real and how it makes it. Yeah, that's. I think for now it's okay. My brain can only take that much at a time. I'm just still trying to learn.
Mandukya study is like this. You try to absorb little by little. I'm going slow in my talk. I'm not, last time you told me that I'm going too fast. So today, deliberately, I reduced my pace by almost 50%. I said, okay, let me go slow. Let me just explain.
Yeah.
And
it was very, I did feel that it was, much more I could absorb today as with your speed, and especially when you took us through the waking, the chart, yeah, the chart, all the three states and the silent state. It was very much clear, and I felt I could absorb it very easily today. So thank you very much for accepting. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Anybody else has any other questions? Shanta has written a beautiful poem. If you can all read it. She is a great poet. She's a great writer, and she mixes poetry with Vedanta, which is very interesting. And every week when she listens to the talk, she always contributes something from her own inner self, what she has. She's a great poet. I mean, it's the great talent. Thank you, Shama, for your understanding of Vedanta in this way. It's very well put. Hani, yes, go ahead.
Yes, Shankarji, I wanted to just quick follow up to exactly the quote from Shankaracharya that you just gave now. Because you experience the world, it cannot be real, right?
Yes.
Now, if we want to just argue for that from logic, you gave the dream example, that's fine, but if we just try to argue it even more fundamentally, without example, just fundamentally, is it right to say it's because if you are experiencing it, then there must be subject and object, and that means there is a duality, and therefore it is not the ultimate reality, because ultimate reality is Advayam. I don't know if that is even fundamental enough. I'm trying to just understand purely logically.
You are in the right direction. Yeah, you are in the right direction. Think further. Think further. You are right, absolutely in the right direction. Both dream and waking is duality. Duality is mithya, appearance, like rope snake. But for mithya, you need an adhishtanam, which is satyam. That is the second part to the reasoning. I didn't say it, but because you're bringing it, I'm now asking you to think further.
Yeah. I don't think I quite grasp that part. Maybe we are going to cover it later.
Yeah, you are going to cover this in very big detail. There are 15 verses which explain to you the Satyam and Mithya and the dream example. And again and again, Shankaracharya will bang you, and he will say, I am repeating it one more time. Dream is experienced and you know it is Mithya. Waking is also experienced, but you don't know it is Mithya. Veda is teaching you that it is Mithya. Accept it, and then you ask the question, who am I? I am the ultimate substratum, pure consciousness, in which it is Advaitam. Advaitam is the substratum. Every mithya will require a substratum. For the dream, you require the waker. For the waker, you require Atma. Therefore, no Atma, through logic, through this Shruti logic, and accept the truth. The truth is given in the Upanishads, that Turiyam is your nature, Advaitam is your nature. How to understand that logically is Shankara's job in the third chapter. Advaitam, 48 verses are talking only of one word, Advaitam. 48 verses. 38 verses are talking to you about where is the resolution for Dvaitam. That is the second chapter. The word that is used is Prapancho Upashamam. 38 verses are telling you the same thing, that there is a resolution ground for our experiences. What is that resolution ground? Atma. Every day we are experiencing, every day it is resolving, but we don't ask the question, Dvaita I experience, I take it as reality, but resolution ground I don't experience. Does it ever exist? That is what is revealed by Upanishads. Go through the process, you will understand without any doubt. 100% you will get clarity.
Just sorry to jump the queue here. I want to just say something what you just explained now regarding this dream. Now, when you say the dream world is not real, we know that, right? We have got no control on what we dream and what we perform in our dream or what we see in the dream. So, in the waking state, we from the Turiya point, yes, we've got no ability to think, act, or whatever. It's all decided and it's all going on. So if we just surrender and say that just like I have no control on my dreams, I have no control on my this life, which is the waking world, um, would that not lead to people otherwise say, I mean, I'm just trying to, ask this question that you have to make effort to do better in life or whatever it happens to be, right? If you can't be sitting and waiting for because if you're sitting here and thinking the plate of food will come, it's not going to come. You have to cook it. So how does that then, because in dream there is no such thing. When you dream that you want food, the food appears, right? But in waking world it doesn't happen. So where is that difference? um, when you start
Yeah.
looking at it from the Turiya point, I can't see that happening. Yeah.
Okay. What you are missing is Turiya is at the absolute level. It is not at the transactional level. Veda never discusses anything about the transactional level. It only tells you, look at the transactions with the correct vision. That there is a higher vision. The Turiya is always at a higher vision. It is not at the transaction level. You have to take your vision slightly up and say at the Turiyan level, there is no transactions. What it says is, you see, now I'm getting into the depth of Mandukya chapter 3. In a nutshell, I'll tell you, Shankaracharya says, there is experienceability, E. There is transactability, T. And there is utility, U, ETU. Experienceability, transactability, and utility is there in dream and it is there in waking. In spite of these three, we still say that it is mithya. Mithya means it is appearing, it is not non-existent. Don't get confused between non-existence and mithya. That you have to be very careful when you walk the path of Vedanta. Waking state is absolutely real when I'm looking at my body, when I'm looking at the world. Yes, transactions are going on. When you are a waker in the waking state, waking is real. But when you rise to the level of Turiyam, it is unreal. Similarly, dream is real. So when you ask the question, for I need food, will the food come? You're talking as if you're a dreamer. In the waking also, in the dream food will satisfy your dream hunger. Waking food will not help you at all because different order of reality. Vedanta is the only philosophy which has got this two orders of reality. Anyway, these are just munching points because you brought up the topic.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I think this discussion...
I want to participate, like what she was just saying.
Okay, go ahead, Jacqueline. There are three other people who have put up their hands before you, but I'll give you...
Okay, go. No, I'm not going to jump queue. Go. I wait.
Yeah, Divya, you are asking, you have not participated so far. I'll just give you the benefit. Divya, would you like to say something?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. Are you able to hear me?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. Namaskaram, sir. I listened to your first session. I couldn't join the second session, but I'm here for the third session. I would like to kind of, I've been reading on some of the text, not in depth, and like how you are, having these sessions. It's very, 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 very useful, and it kind of helps me grounded. What I would like to share with the group is, like the other gentleman asked you about the observer, experiencer. Just a small thing that I would like to share is, we can take ourselves as experience, like we are from babies, we grow up to the adulthood. So there is a change in our form, everything changes around us, but we as the observer remain the same. So I just wanted to share that also. And what I would like to, what I am trying to gather from these sessions, apart from the knowledge of Mandukya Upanishad, I understand that everything around us changes. The dream state is, in the dream, you cannot, like you mentioned just now, you cannot compare a dream state in your waking state. I believe I read somewhere from Ramana Maharishi's talks where one of his disciples asked him about, like, in dream, I meet my friend and we go hiking to some mountains, but in real state, I am here and he is somewhere else. And then Maharishi tells him, like, then you should go and ask your friend in the dream state and not in the real state. These states are different, and don't confuse the states in between. So I'm able to grasp those concepts, sir. The one thing that I find difficult is to remain established in the state, in the calm state. The mind fluctuates, the mind gets easily influenced by Maya, it gets the sorrowness of the life. I'm trying to kind of get that peace. I want the peace. Again, I should not say I want the peace, but the mind, I would like to keep the mind calm. And one of the reasons is, that is why I am here for the sessions, so that
Divya, I understood your question. Basically, there are two practices which are required to keep the mind calm. Number one practice is you need to understand more and more about this Atma. Clear understanding of Atma, which we are now doing in Mandukya Upanishad through the help of these 4 chapters, it will establish you in the reality. So this is one practice. That means you have to learn more and more about Atma. This will come to you as we learn Mandukya Upanishad. Your clarity about Atma will grow tremendously. It will grow 1,000-fold. Today what your knowledge about Atma, the moment you go through the 7th mantra of the Upanishad, there will be something which will blow up your mind and say, oh, this is Atma. How come I didn't know this? Because once you get clarity, it's like darkness and light. The moment you bring light, the darkness goes away. So similarly, Atma is such that the knowledge of Mandukya is so powerful, it will give clarity by illumining that Atma. The second thing, which is a practice, is you have to slowly, in your own mind, you don't have to tell anybody else this. Say that whatever I'm experiencing as the body, as the world, as whatever I'm experiencing, it is a passing phase. Let it just go through. I won't put too much emphasis on whatever is happening in my life. It will go through. I will go through it. Let the morning come, let the evening come, let the sorrow, if it comes, let it come. You know that it will go away. And keep remembering this fact, which Mandukya Upanishad is telling you. All your experiences are anityam. Anityam means it is not permanent. Exactly like dream. Dream is not permanent. It comes, it goes away. Similarly, the waking, today you have experienced this, these experiences will go tomorrow. So, two practices. One, make a conscious effort to learn more and more about Atma, which you are already doing by attending the sessions. The second is your own personal behavior during your transactions. Don't get caught. You yourself have said very clearly it is a Maya world in which you're caught. So, like Lord Krishna says again and again in the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, withdraw whenever you get caught up. Again, withdraw from those worlds of experiences. Come back to that core of your personality, which is the Turiyam, which is the Atma. So these two practices will help you benefit a lot, because that is ultimately, that is what is this, all the study which we are doing is only for that. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Divya, continue. And I hope you have some tips here and there to lead a life and let the life go on, because all of us are in the same boat. Everybody, whatever you are facing, is the same question with everyone who is here.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Divya. Hani, you have another question. Yeah, go ahead. Or
Oh, sorry. No,
Yeah,
I just
ahead.
forgot to put my hand down. Sorry. I'll put my hand down from last time.
Bharat is asking in the chat. He's saying, would you like to add that the Ananda Mimamsa of Taittiriya Upanishad implied by Mandukya Mantra 7, Shantam Shivoham? Yes, you are right. The Mandukya Mantra, Shantam, Shivoham, these are all indicated in the Ananda Mimamsa of Taittiriya Upanishad. Ananda means it is the infinite nature, it is a happiness. Ultimately, Shantam, peace, only comes when your mind settles down and it becomes happy. Shantam, Shivoham, Advaitam, all of them, they mean ultimately only one, which is called as Anand. They are all words. Shantam is a word, Shivoham is a word, but ultimately it refers to Ananda, which is the topic, 8th topic in the 2nd chapter of Taittiriya Upanishad, which I am doing on Saturdays. So it's a good correlation you're bringing up, Bharat. I agree with you. So with this, we will stop. I think there's been a long discussion today.
Wait, I have one.
Yeah, Jacqueline, go ahead.
No, I didn't know people raise their hand.
No, go ahead. Sorry.
I was
go ahead.
I was attracted by the statement that the conversation that I think is Shanta, right? She was saying that if I sit there do nothing, then the food will come or not. So I'm just ideally as a consciousness, right? Mr. Shekhar, as a consciousness, as a Om, we if we are at the high level, we don't do anything, and it is the grace or the light that asks us, hey, you're hungry, go and cook. Hey, you have to earn money, go and do. Is that what it's supposed to be?
Yes, it is.
Right?
Yeah, it is only with the grace of that consciousness, everything happens in the world.
Yeah, it's just like if I have to go and do work or I have to eat, then the grace is telling me you go and eat, okay, go and cook and do action in the earth level doing such a thing. If not, then it's like a freedom, right? Just like you say, if sorrow is here, go away. I mean, whether go away or not go away, it will not be there, right?
Yeah, correct. Good.
Okay.
Jacqueline, you've got you've got the essence behind it. Thank you.
Appreciate.
Okay. So we'll close today and then we'll continue. This is a brilliant discussion what we had today. I'm glad there's so many interesting questions and views on what we are going through. Thank you and have a great day ahead. Namaste.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Shekhar.
Namaste.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Daniel.
Thank you so much.